Jumping right into things with Stage 5, so whatever technical challenges I faced with the last video, I can guarantee you that they weren't as bad as this guy's. High sprint potential here, but fans, hey idiot, this isn't Pamplona, and a steep climb towards the end were a bit more than a few of the sprinters could handle. Despite his immaculate paperboy technique through the final pitches, Cav lost touch and missed out. The rest of the peloton seemed to have it together for the final run-in, even a wayward balloon couldn't trip them up. But just outside the final K, Argos Shimano's Luka Mesic, he of the dive bomb from the Tour of Romandy video, caught a slick spot at a pedestrian crossing and slid into the fence, managing to pin everyone behind him against it, except his teammate John Degenkolb, who did a nifty little outrigger to get inside the fallen riders and then took off. The crash could have been an easy win for Bardiani Valvole's Marco Canola, except that he'd just spent the previous 200 meters riding as hard as humanly possible as part of his team's lead-out. Lactic acid caught up to him at 300 meters to go, followed closely by Degenkolb, whose upright, all-out final efforts looked more like Contador than Cavendish. Probably a clenbuterol joke in there somewhere, huh? Stage 6, finally a flat sprint stage where nothing could possibly go wrong, except for this little pothole at the finish that the Giro totally didn't put off fixing until the last possible second. Oh, and this quick little mechanical for Brad Wiggins at 33k, but he'll get back... Oh. That's a proper crash right there, folks. Fortunately, no one in the group felt like stranding the chasers, but it was still 15 minutes more work than Sky wanted to do on a non-GC day. Man, I wish I had more time to go over this sprint. Viviani jockeying for Cav's wheel, Buhani stuck behind his own leadout twice, but the winning move was Omega Pharma, finally getting their leadout together when it counted, with Trenton and then Stiegmans hitting the front in the final 600 meters to give Cav an unassailable launch pad for his second win in as many chances. Stage 7, who would lay out a stage profile like this? Good day for relaxation in the bunch while a break contests the stage. By 33k to go, the escape had been reduced to Lotto's Adam Hansen and Androni Giacotole's Emanuele Sella. You think the little guy could dust off Hansen on a course with this profile, but he had been punching out for KOMs all day while the Aussie just kept sitting there, taking it over in the tiniest gears he could find. Sella seemed to be the more aggressive descender, but as the rain started to come down, so did he. To be fair, on pavement so slick, even spectators couldn't stand. Hansen waited, a bit impatiently, and halfway up the next climb, 20k to go, rolled away from his companion, still ticking over that tiny little gear. Hansen just had to handle one more Cat 4 climb and its descent, which he did with aplomb. More than can be said for race leader Luca Paolini, who lost touch on the way up, or Sky's Brad Wiggins, who slid out on the way down. Each finished about a minute behind the GC group. Hansen held off the chase for the stage win, with a solid assist from roads slick enough to take out even Vincenzo Nibali. Stage 8's time trial gave Wiggins a chance to strike back, and he probably would have with a stage win had he not suffered a mechanical in the early going. The course featured an unpleasant climb and several technical sections, much to the delight of Vincenzo Nibali, who performed exceptionally well for a non-specialist. No one could match stage winner Movistar's Alex Dowsett's early time. The Brit's teammate, Benat Inchasti, the overnight leader following Paolini's dropping, fared less well, finishing mid-pack and ceding the lead to Nibali while most of the other GC favorites remained within about 2 minutes. Stage 9, the Giro's first proper mountain stage, but again one with a downhill finish, meaning the overall contenders were likely to save their efforts for later. As predicted, a long breakaway hit out, with Astana moderating the gap behind. Oh, and I hope you weren't tired of the rain yet, because it was another day of riders sliding all over the place. In fact, Katusha's Maxime Belkov used not even aggressive, just like not brake-happy descending, to form a gap over the rest of the escapees coming off a Cat 1 climb around 57k to go, needing only one expertly applied outrigger to reach the bottom. Back in the field for what, the 5th, 6th time this Giro, Brad Wiggins found himself caught on the unhappy side of a split, but to be fair, he wasn't the only one to have problems. Garmin Sharp's David Miller tried to whip up the pace, but Wiggins nonetheless made it back, and somewhat poetically, Miller's teammate rider Hessedal was dropped over the very next climb. At the happy end of the ascent, AG2R's Carlos Betancourt leapt free and began a spirited chase for reasons that were clear to no one, until he caught and outsprinted brake remnants Harlinson Pantano and Tobias Ludvigsen and began celebrating, apparently unaware that Belkov, and his precariously secured energy bar, had already crossed the finish line about a minute and a half earlier. Nibali rolled in with the rest of the GC group around 15 seconds later, retaining his lead, while Hessedal limped in a minute further down, dropping the Canadian out of the top 10 overall. But expect a serious GC reshuffle on Tuesday, when the Giro hits its first mountaintop finish. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how stages 5 through 9 were won. Doesn't really sound right either, does it? Look, it's a tricky thing, alright? Just try producing your own video podcast. And do all the other cool stuff I do, like the Cyclocosm Rantcast that you can find on cyclocosm.com. And if you like those rantcasts, you can buy 20 seconds of one. Just go to cyclocosm.com/PFB and make a $20 or more donation to People for Bikes.